The WWE's long-awaited debut on Netflix finally took place tonight. Monday Night Raw was in Inglewood, California at the Intuit Dome, which I have to say is the best arena I've ever seen. It looks like a stadium. It looks basically the same as SoFi Stadium, which is the football stadium, in an arena. Imagine 20,000 people, a stadium of 20,000 people. That's how I would explain it. It was fantastic. The only thing that's more impressive, I think, than the Intuit Dome would probably be either SoFi Stadium itself or the Vegas Sphere. I thought it was just fantastic the way it looked. It really was something special, especially when you really saw some of the entrances. It looked incredible, and of course they loved their drones. They were using drones even before Monday Night Raw. They were doing it on Sunday night, having various logos. That was cool, and that added to the show. Obviously, that won't be on every Raw, but it made the show feel spectacular. It made it feel special. Now, the presentation was well done. The actual show itself, I think it left a little bit to be desired, but we'll get to that later. So we start off with Michael Cole welcoming us to the show. We see Seth Rollins and CM Punk arriving, which was the main event. Then we see Liv Morgan arriving with the Judgment Day. And then we see Rhea Ripley arrive. So we had an amazing video package highlighting the history of WWE, and I have to say, it didn't necessarily have the desired effect on me because I saw it earlier in the day, and that was a little disappointing. I kind of wish I didn't, because I think I would have appreciated it even more if I didn't. But when I first saw it, I thought it was great if I was watching on my phone. When I saw it live on TV, and it wasn't basically, to explain it, they had a giant curtain come down, and the curtain had a projector, and that's how they showed it, and we saw it live from arena, and it looked amazing. But I kind of wish that was the first time I saw it, because I thought it was fantastic. It had the entire WWE history, some of the greatest moments, painted on a giant canvas, which looked amazing. So we have pyro goes off, and at the end of the video package, and then the curtain collapses, it falls down. And then we reveal a man standing in the ring. Who could it be? It's Triple H, Paul Levesque. He cuts his standard "Are you ready" promo. He would do this all the time in NXT before their takeovers. And the crowd cheers, and it sets up Monday Night Raw. And this is, of course, the Netflix era. We're no longer in the Paul Levesque era. But they had a brief pause. They were panning the crowd, announcers talking, and then the lights go out, and The Rock makes his entrance. And I have to say, in the Intuit Dome, this was the best entrance. The Rock's entrance was incredible, especially how they have the electricity and with the LED screens. Man, it looked just insane to see. He comes out, he has the People's Championship, and he gives it to his daughters at ringside. And my first thought was, is he retiring the belt? Is that it? Are we no longer going to see this belt? Or is he done? Are we not going to see The Rock anymore? So when he starts talking, he didn't talk for too long. You expect a long Rock promo like we got last year. It wasn't that. He basically mentions his family. He talks about the Samoan lineage, and he, of course, first mentions his father, then he mentions his grandfather, and then he begins to acknowledge three people. First, he thanks the Netflix executive sitting in the press box. Then he mentions Cody Rhodes, who was sitting at ringside, and he thanks Cody for carrying the company for the last year, and they acknowledge each other. And I was thinking to myself, wait a second. We're not getting this match at WrestleMania, are we? They left no inclination that it's going to be a match. And it was almost like they were burying the hatchet. That part where the Raw after WrestleMania last year, where The Rock gave Cody Rhodes, I forget exactly what it was. It was a locket or something. And it's for sure the match is WrestleMania 41, Cody Rhodes and The Rock. It looks like Rock's movie schedule got busy again. Maybe, he was having some problems in Hollywood last year. He had Black Adam that flopped. Now he's on the rebound. He's been having some big successes. It looks like his schedule is getting full again. It just doesn't look like he's going to make it this year. So then he thanks Roman Reigns, and he talks about his family again, and he basically hypes up the tribal combat match. He does his "if you smell" catchphrase, then he walks around the ring, he shakes Cody's hand, and that moment I think to myself, alright, this isn't happening. They basically just shook hands. This is it. We're not getting this match this year. And it made it seem, especially after what John Cena said, man, this is not the direction. We're not going to get this match. I was looking forward to it. I thought this was the main event. Didn't work out, it looked like. So next we go to Sikoa and Roman Reigns. Sikoa makes his entrance, and then Roman has a really good entrance. He had a lot of aura to him. And in the Intuit Dome, his entrance looked spectacular. Not like The Rock's, but it looked really, really good. And of course, it's accompanied by Paul Heyman. And before Roman came out, I think after Roman came out, we had a really good video package about their history. And also worth mentioning, the referees now have new shirts. I'm not sure if this is just for Raw. Maybe it's for Raw and SmackDown, because SmackDown, I think they had normal shirts on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, but looks like we're getting new shirts at least for Raw. So the match they had, it was basically just a repeat of the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns WrestleMania 40 main event. Exactly what I thought it would be. You had a whole bunch of run-ins, and the problem with doing that is the early parts of the match don't mean anything. So he had Solo get the heat on Roman early. And in some ways, it was almost like a Roman Reigns match from like 2017. But Solo throws Roman across the announce table. He hits him with stairs. He then brings in chairs, beats up Roman Reigns with the steel chair. Then he hits him with a kendo stick. And the turning point in the match, Roman, was Solo has him in the turnbuckle, and he's punching him. And then Roman, I think he fights back, and he hits him with a power bomb, and it puts Solo right through a table. And this was one of the worst table spots I've seen in a while. It looked painful because the thing just shattered. It wasn't necessarily like a break. There were splinters all over the ring. I think to myself, I hope someone doesn't have to land on that, because the entire ring was covered in wood chips. It looked pretty damn dangerous, because I was thinking to myself, and there was also the steel, I think, was sticking out, and it was still left in parts of the match, and someone almost got hurt. That was a little distracting for me, but you have I believe Roman hit a spear, and then Tama Tonga comes out, and that distracts Roman, and the referee was then distracted as well. And then Jacob Fatu comes out. Solo looks like he's going to win after they attack him. I think Jacob hit a moonsault. Solo hits a Samoan spike. Roman kicks out, and then they take out the ref. That's where we get a run of Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso. They fight off Jacob and Tama Tonga. They fight, and then it looks like Roman's about to get the upper hand, but then Kevin Owens comes and he hits Roman Reigns with a stunner, and he wants revenge on the Bloodline, and it looks like he's going to help Solo win, but then Cody Rhodes comes out and he takes out Kevin Owens, and they brawl to the back. So Cody was at ringside. I guess he went to the back. He was only cared about The Rock, so we didn't want to watch this match. And he comes out again and fights off Kevin Owens on behalf of his new best friend, Roman Reigns. And then it's Roman and Solo at the end, and eventually Roman finishes him off with a spear. And it looks like that's it. Heyman now gets in the ring. He has the Ula Fala, and he's ready to put it over Roman Reigns' neck. And then The Rock walks out, and his music, he just walked out. And I was thinking, we're getting Rock and Roman. This is bigger. This is the bigger match. I know that I like Cody, but this is an even bigger match. Instead, he doesn't even do anything. He just comes out. He asks Paul Heyman for the Ula Fala. Heyman kisses it, and then The Rock just puts it over Roman Reigns' neck, and that's it. Rock looks on. I was thinking to myself, okay, he's gonna do it. Then he's gonna hit a rock bottom on Roman Reigns, and it's gonna set it up. Never happened. Rock just places the Ula Fala over Roman's neck. That's it. I had zero inclination to Rock and wrestle WrestleMania this year. None. So eventually that ends, and then we go to the back, and this is almost an hour into the show now. I have to say the first hour was the strongest part. That was the best part. However, New Day is introduced by Jackie Redmond. The crowd hates them, and they're just being booed it was in front of the live crowd, by the way. They did a lot of these. I don't think they'll do this every week because arenas aren't as big, but was basically she was interviewing them in front of the crowd, not in the ring, but like around it, not sort of in the crowd. I think in a press box, an open press box. That's how it was, and there was multiple interviews like this during the night. So, also worth noting, the Royal Rumble next year in 2026 is now official for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. That sucks. I always like watching the Rumble. Don't want to watch it from Saudi. Never watch Saudi shows. I usually skip them. I don't watch the October or the November show ever. But it is what it is. They've hosted a Royal Rumble before. They had the greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, but I wish they would have chosen somewhere else. I think this guarantee is eventually we're going to get a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. So we see several wrestlers in the crowd and several celebrities. This went on all night, and it was like this because it's Netflix, so there's a lot of, and because it's such a big show for Netflix, there was a lot of celebrities affiliated with Netflix in the crowd. We saw this repeatedly, and we saw a lot of wrestlers there on the roster and some legends. I can't go on, but we got our first round. And then John Cena makes his entrance. The crowd is cheering him. Amazing entrance for John Cena. He has the Last Time Is Now shirt. The crowd tells him, thank you, Cena, really before he even begins his promo. Cena's talking and about this being his last tournament. He's his future opponent. He mentions Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Gunther, Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes. He mentioned Cody Rhodes last, which was interesting. I thought to myself, that was an interesting placement. Logan Paul was someone he mentioned, but the way where he placed him, didn't really think it's going to be at WrestleMania. I think he'll wrestle Logan Paul. I don't think it's going to be at WrestleMania. I think the most likely one is Cody Rhodes. And then he talks about how this is his last WrestleMania. He brings up streaks, and he does this on purpose because the first thing he brings up is Gunther's Intercontinental title reign and Roman Reigns' world title reign, which eventually ended last year. Both Roman's reign and Gunther's reign ended at WrestleMania 40 last year. And then he eventually brings up The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. And then he brings up his own losing streak, the fact that he hasn't won a singles match in over 2,000 days. He says he can't break the 16 championship record that he's tied to Ric Flair with until he wins a match. And he never mentions Flair, but basically Flair's title, whatever they said it as. Originally that was set for Triple H to break, but it didn't work out, so eventually they need someone to break in. I think this is the time to do it. And he says that he can't win, so he can't go for the belt. The fans want him to go for the title. They boo that. John Cena then mentions how he'd have to win Money in the Bank or Elimination Chamber or the Royal Rumble, and that gets a pop. He then says that he will win the Royal Rumble. He promised it. It was assured. And this is one of those old John Cena promos where he's almost vowing that he's going to win and makes you think, all right, he's winning. The way I got this, yeah, Cena's winning, probably going to win the Rumble. I don't think Rock's going to be in there. I think Cena's going to WrestleMania. And it most likely looks like it's going to be John Cena against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, one of the nights. That looks a lot more likely than The Rock against Cody Rhodes. So after this segment ends, Liv Morgan makes her entrance with Raquel Rodriguez and Dirty Dom Mysterio. Speaking of Dirty Dom, I think they showed in the crowd Rey Mysterio was in the crowd. Several of the stars in the crowd. We got a really great video package highlighting the history of the Rhea Ripley-Liv Morgan feud. Then we see a whole bunch of more celebrities. We had Macaulay Culkin, who was very popular. People really remember Home Alone. We're all nostalgic for that. They had Ice Cube's son. They had Topanga, the lady from Boy Meets World, Danielle Fishel. She was popular. She appears at a lot of indie wrestling shows I hear. We see Bianca Belair and Naomi watching. No Jade. Well, we still don't know who attacked her. And then we saw X-Pac there. We saw Nakamura there. So Rhea Ripley makes her entrance before the match begins. Very good entrance for Rhea. She comes off as a star. They really built her up as a star. Michael Cole made it a big deal when she came out. So the match I thought was average. I did not like it. I thought they've had better matches. I just was not a fan of this at all. I just thought it was just okay. It was standard. Basically, Liv kicks out of the Riptide in the middle of the match. Rhea kicked out of what's Liv's finisher? she hit her finisher on the chair just like SummerSlam Rhea kicked out. Eventually, the match ends with Rhea hitting a riptide. She picks up Liv, hits a second riptide. 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley is your new World Women's Champion, and this feud is over. Mercifully, it's over. This peaked in the summer at SummerSlam. Should not have gone on as long as it did. It got boring, but I'm glad it's over. That's the second feud that looks like it's done. First being Roman and Solo. So Rhea celebrates, and after she wins the title, it looks like the bandwagoner, Dominic Mysterio, is about to turn on Liv and join back with Rhea. He wants to give her a hug, but she teases it before hitting him with a low blow. Then she hits a riptide on Dom. Fans go crazy. Easy pop. She celebrates up the stage as a World Women's Champion, and then a gong goes off, a familiar one. It's The Undertaker, not the dead man, the American Badass. He comes out on his motorcycle, drives down the ring in his motorcycle, drives back up the stage, meets back up with Rhea, acknowledges Rhea, gives her the props, puts up the fist up in the air like he'd always do. Rhea does it with him. I don't know if he was one of Rhea's favorites, but it's probably a cool moment for her. He's endorsing Rhea Ripley, sort of similar how he endorsed Bray Wyatt a couple years ago. But that's what his role was. It was basically the same thing. In fact, he did less here. But then the Undertaker's pyro goes off. It was a cool moment. Fans liked it. Taker was very popular here. And Ripley, I don't think she gained a lot from it, but I thought it was fine for what it was. It was a fun way to get Taker on the show, way to get his endorsement for Ripley. It can't hurt her. So we see wrestlers backstage, several of them in the back just to get them on the show. Then we have Kathy Kelly interviewing Adam Pearce, who was just talking to Bayley. I'm thinking to myself, is she moving to Raw? We just had a Drew move to SmackDown. So we see Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy interrupt, and he wants a match. It's set up where next week he's going to face a luchador. Wonder who that's going to be. We had Jackie Redmond interviewing The Miz in front of a live crowd. He mocks John Cena, and then Karrion Kross and Scarlett show up, and all I can look at is Scarlett here with her dress, her blue dress. I don't know, her dress or Kathy Kelly's red dress was my favorite. Or Jackie had a nice black dress on too. So anyway, Kross basically tricks The Miz into saying that he's going to face the Wyatts, and it's their usual banter. I have to say, I really like what Kross is doing. He's really grown on me, and I think this gimmick is really helping him. I think he's showing a lot more personality in his just dark gimmick that he used to have. I think this is the Dark Fall and Prey gimmick. I think this, what he has now, is really showing a different side of him, and I'm starting to grow on me. So we see cell phone footage of The Rock, and he's basically interacting with the wrestlers. He says he'll see us on NXT. That's interesting. I just assume it's going to be what he just did tonight. He's just going to welcome us to NXT. So we get more celebrities in the crowd. We see Vanessa Hudgens, who's wearing a T-shirt that says, "Hot girls like wrestling," and when a girl like Vanessa Hudgens wears it, it's probably true. So we have Damage Control in the crowd as well. Both of them look like they're having a fun time. Then Travis Scott comes out, and the crowd is doing the Jey Uso yeet. That's what he was there for. So when Uso comes out, he does the entrance with him. It was an amazing visual seeing the Intuit Dome during the yeet. The fans going crazy. It's basically like a concert. That's how I would explain it. And they showed Io Sky and Dakota Kai having a blast in the crowd, especially Io Sky. She looks like she's having the time of her life. She looks like a 14-year-old girl at a concert. It was really funny. And Jey Uso makes his entrance. Then Drew comes out. And before Drew gets in the ring, Jey hits a dive. And they get in the match. And it was just standard. It was just a typical Raw match. Not anything special. Jey won with a roll-up. I'm thinking to myself, that's a bad sign for Drew. Now, he just signed a new big contract, but I was hoping they'd do more with him. I get why they wanted Jey to win. He's coming up with Travis Scott, and Travis Scott was there, and it's a cool entrance. They kind of want him to win the match. I just don't think he should be pushed more than Drew is, but Jey gets the win. We get a video package of Gunther, so the World Heavyweight Champion on the show was not on the debut. I'm sure he's going to be very upset on Raw next week. At least I hope. So we have Kathy Kelly. Did I mention her red dress? Oh my God. She's interviewing Gabriel Iglesias. He's this comedian who works for Netflix. She had a lot of people who had contracts with Netflix on the show, and he is talking about how much he enjoys it, and then the New Day interrupts, and they mock him, and then the Alpha Academy comes out, and it's weird because you have Otis, you have Tozawa, and you have Maxine Dupree. They're basically supposed to be with the heel Chad Gable, but sorry, they're not with Chad Gable. What am I thinking? What's wrong with me? They're not the Alpha Academy. They're not with Gable. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. They're the faces, and it's just a role for them, and they basically, Iglesias leads the crowd in New Day sucks chants. So that's basically what we had there. And you think you had Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns backstage. They're walking down, and Heyman and Roman eventually get down the hallway, and when Roman closes the door to the locker room, it says WWE 2K25. So I think we now know who our cover athlete this year is going to be. We had Jackie Redmond interviewing the new World Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley. She was accompanied by Damian Priest, and Priest is leading the crowd and cheering for her. Rhea Ripley came off as a star here. Crowd really likes them. I just felt like this was something that could have just been on, after the show. I don't know why this had to be on, but there was a lot of stuff like this, a lot of filler. I thought this was all right. It was fine. It was fun. It was cool also to get Priest on, and actually it did make sense because it sets up Priest and Finn Balor next week, and that's what they talked about. They're having a street fight. That might be the end of their feud as well. So we get more people in the crowd. We see celebrities as well, but we also get to see Braun Breaker, who's there. We see Tiffany Stratton, your new WWE Women's Champion, who didn't have the belt with her, by the way, and she also had a nice dress on, I have to say that. And then you had Nikki Bella, who was there. No Brie, I think for obvious reasons. But Nikki was there, and she got a nice pop from the crowd. So maybe her and, I guess maybe her at least, she's on better terms with the WWE. Then you had the worst part of the show, the most awkward part I wish really wasn't on the show. You had Hulk Hogan come out, and wow. I figured he'd probably get booed because he hasn't been well received the last few times. It's been a while. I think last time was WrestleMania 37, but when he came out here, it was like, wow, they really don't like him. They booed him, and it was nothing. He basically talked about his beer, and the real reason he was there is because WWE signed a multi-year contract with his Real American Beer, and this is a huge problem for him because when he comes out, like they're going to boo him, and I don't think anyone's going to buy the beer the way he's being booed. He's so unpopular, it seems, so I don't know why they did that, but you signed a new Legends deal. They don't have to have him on TV to have him under contract, but this was, they really don't like Hulk Hogan. So people can say why. It's California, and know he supported Donald Trump in the U.S. presidential election, and the other candidate was Kamala Harris, who lost, but it's her home state, California, very liberal. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Also, there's the comments he made during the in 2007 on the tape, very racist comments. That could have been a factor. Also, I think maybe the backstage politics he always played, and then you can also add all the lies he's told in interviews. Maybe that's why the fans turned on him. But maybe it was also Los Angeles, especially bad. But he's been booed before, and there's been times where they've mentioned his name and it's been booed, and I don't think it's a good idea to bring this guy back. Anyway, eventually we got more people. We saw Stephanie in the crowd. Fans loved her, and then we had Seth Rollins make his entrance. Then we went to a commercial, and CM Punk comes out, and I have to say, the match they had was a damn good match. Very solid matchup here. Really enjoyed it. Went back and forth. I thought they did really well. It just was a little bit late in the show, and sometimes in the Raw main events, I'm just waiting for the show to end. But and so much happened on the show, it was kind of draining. I was kind of tired. However, I thought the match they had was just really good. Eventually, Punk wins. He hits a go to sleep, and then Rollins falls back into Punk on his shoulders. Punk picks him back up, hits a second go to sleep, and pins Seth Rollins 1, 2, 3. CM Punk wins, and that's how the show ends. Punk with the big win, a signature win. After the show, he did an interview with Jackie Redmond, and he is set up for big things. He wants to win the Rumble. I don't think he will. I think Cena's going to win the Rumble, but if I had to make a prediction. After this show, I don't think The Rock's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I think the most likely two main event matches are night one, it's Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and night two, it's Cody Rhodes and John Cena. I think those are the most likely main events of WrestleMania. So that's how I felt after watching the show. And my overall thoughts were, I thought it was okay. I thought it was an okay show. It wasn't a great Raw or anything. It was a lot of things happened. A lot of stars, a lot of people there. But I felt like maybe it was a little bit overhyped. It just felt like it was going to be such a big show, such a bigger show than it ended up being. And I thought it was just okay for me personally. But it was definitely a big show for WWE. I'm sure a lot of people watch Netflix, and we'll see where it goes from here. So, it's hyped up. They're on Netflix now. It's a big deal, a lot of hype. First show I didn't think lived up to it, to be honest, but I hope they put as much energy into these next shows that they did in this. It won't be as big, but I hope they treat it like a big deal before eventually it just turns into what it used to be, which is what always happens. But overall, a big show, and we'll see what happens next.